The whole atmosphere of the school for the last few days has been based around Year 9 and the Guided Choices evening.
The students themselves need the opportunity to ask the questions in an informal setting. We have a system in school for all functions where every member of staff who's in charge of that has to write procedures. I mean, I've got my little box here, and this is just really Guided Choices evening. It allows us any time of year to say, well, okay then, in January you should have started the process. Have we started the process? Yes, okay. What do you need to do?
You might decide to do performing dance as your one.
Start our first meeting, the team leaders for the subjects who have to do a small display on the evening in order to sell their subject to the students. I go into a lot of assemblies and speak to the students. I make sure the students realise it's a very serious evening for them and the choices they're making are very important. But at the same time, I also make them realise it's their event rather than an event for the school in terms of a teacher's event. The key to this evening is about us sharing information. It is about the students in the room and the parents finding out about what subjects are available for you to study in Key Stage 4.
Our assistant head, who's in charge of it, lets us know with a letter in the pigeonhole, and he usually then sets up an informal meeting with the team leader to talk about what he expects from that evening and what we're expecting from it as well in terms of displays, who we have to see, how many students we think we'll have to talk to, and from there it sort of evolves into what needs to happen on the evening itself.
A tick list is the best way of ensuring everything that should happen does happen. If you haven't got one, go to another school who held a similar event and they will have a similar checklist. And then I always do a walkthrough a few days before where I imagine I'm attending the event and I have a pad and I just go through and think, I'm a student and a parent, what would I expect to see? I then go back and do exactly the same with a member of the site management team. So if you do it twice, you always think of things. There's always something that you think, I could do that, and you add it to the procedures.
You can choose art in A or C, 2 different groups, 2 different teachers, 2 rooms, 2 different times of the timetable, but the same course.
You need to think about all the people that the event impacts on. For example, yesterday I realised I hadn't asked the cleaners to prioritise where they were cleaning. Also meeting the site managers to ensure that the stage is in the right place, set up properly, the chairs are in the right place. I think them not wearing school uniform for the evening is something else that again sets a slightly less than formal atmosphere, but also business-like. I do ensure I say to them, I want you to look very smart. Using prefects to welcome people, show them where to park. Again, when students see other students, they tend to relax themselves a little bit more. The staff spend a lot of time preparing displays, making sure that when students and parents go to these particular subjects, they are lively, they're informative and they're interesting.
We'll try and have some career-orientated posters up, and we'll put some of our props out, and we'll also put some of our practical bits and pieces out. We're running an audio-visual display as well this evening, so the children get to see roughly what they would be doing for their GCSE.
So then it's shampooing and conditioning. There's a right way and there's a wrong way. You shampoo your hair at home, whether it's right or wrong, we teach you how to do it properly.
They then have a week to go away and discuss with their parents, their carers, about what is the most appropriate choices for themselves. And then we have a day where the Year 9 students only come in for a meeting with their form tutor and they look at what are the choices they think they're going to make. And sometimes they've made unwise choices. We maybe try and guide them to making choices that would be more appropriate for themselves.
What is it you're interested in, or are you more into the practical, or or both? What's your science like?
The Guided Choices evening is another opportunity for us to bond with parents, to slide in a few little things about progress about the students. So it's another opportunity for parents to feel that they're valued and for us to find out more information to have a better relationship, really. An awful lot of schools do school productions, and the amount of organisation is phenomenal. They need health and safety guidance, what was happening with the lighting and the rigging. They need the child protection issues, because if you're taking photographs there, children have a right to be protected. These are little things that you forget about. You've just got to make sure you've ticked every box.
The cycle of a school play tends to be a whole year. We start literally after one production's ended. The initial things that you have to do, you have to find out the availability of the licence. One of the school favourites, Grease, was unavailable for a couple of years because they were touring it, so they wouldn't even allow you to put it on.
Mr Bumble, face the audience. Can we not try and hit Oliver in the eye, please? Possible. We do need him.
I would say the minimum amount for a school play would be about £1,000, because you can find that the licence itself can be £300, £400, £500. What I did when I came to this school is I set up a performance budget, and we put on some smaller productions to start with, and put all of the ticket money into this budget. And once I had enough, that's when I decided 3 years ago to put on the first school play.
Bill, on your line, it's your business. I want you to scream it at it. It's your business. And then storm off.
To get students involved, what I always do is have posters up and ready for as soon as they come back after September. And I have the audition within 2 weeks of them coming back. You get a lot of students that turn up that are excited about the production but are unaware of the commitment. I have a very, very large chorus because you are likely to lose a third very, very quickly once they realise the hard work. Parents have to be aware of the commitment, and have to have written permission from the parents so they're fully aware. Obviously then you need things like booking the hall, making sure that you have the available space to actually rehearse in, making sure you're aware of the actual calendar and how that will impact on the rehearsal schedule.
Now you're just looking at me. Luke, I want you to concentrate.
Within the 6 months of the rehearsal, you're obviously going to have highs and lows. The beginning is a great high, everyone's very, very excited. And then you sometimes find within the first few weeks, when they realise that maybe they're not all involved immediately, that you can have a bit of a lag. And then towards the end, things like possibly talking to them about costumes or props, or all of a sudden we'll lift them again. The stage has now gone up, getting someone involved in the lights. So all of the technical sides, all the glamour sides, just sort of, when there is a dip, throw something at them very, very quickly. And it will lift them.
Thank you.
We do have a link with professional companies, and things like lighting and sound have been supported by professionals within their field who have then taught our students how to do it.
This time round, if something goes wrong, you go over it. I am not stopping at any point.
You need one person who has sole control over it and awareness of what's going on. So my role is director, producer, I look after the finances. But you do delegate, obviously the music teacher or head of music will obviously deal with the music.
6 times of that.
We've had English teachers, science teachers that have worked on the dances, but you do need to have one person who has a clear overview of what's going on. I do attend a meeting with the senior team 2 or 3 weeks before the production to go through any of the sort of basic needs of the night, things like extra cleaning, because we use some of the classrooms as dressing rooms, refreshments that we may need, car parking issues. One of the people that's very, very important when you're putting on a school play is the site manager. They can obviously advise you on issues to do with health and safety, how many seats you need, fire regulations, as well as supporting you technically. It is a lot of work, a lot of commitment. You still have your everyday teaching to do, but you know what it's going to be like at the end. You know on that last night the cheers that are going to go up and the joy that they have. And it does. I mean, that's why we're here. So it does keep, the students do keep you going.
A school trip is very important in terms of the pupils interacting with the teachers, I think, on a informal basis rather than just in a classroom.
Barcelona trip is one that's going this year. We've done it 2 years ago as well, and there'll be about 30 children going.
There's 3 members of staff, so it's kind of 1 per 10 pupils.
We have a mixture often of teachers and non-teaching staff who are very, very experienced with the children, and that's a good mix. There's always a member of staff who goes ahead of that trip and does all the recce before they come back and we actually approve it.
We have a meeting with the parents where I invite them to come in just to hear about what their children are going to be getting up to for the week.
The hard work is the organisation, doing all the health and safety checks, meeting with the parents, lists of what they need to take, lists of rules, getting sign sheets in, making sure everyone's got passports.
After that, we have a meeting with the pupils just to make sure they know what to bring with them on the Monday morning. When we get there, obviously, we'll want to go into our rooms. We're all sharing rooms in 2s and 3s. And then we'll be going shopping. So you'll be able to practice your Spanish, asking prices and buying things in the shops.
Any kind of activity that's planned in detail should be hard work.
In terms of passports, this time we're using a group passport for the majority of our pupils. That is an excellent resource, much easier than taking 30 separate passports and having to look after them. Wednesday, we've got a busy day. First of all, we'll be going to the Olympic Stadium, having a look round. Then we'll be going to the Sagrada Familia. The main problem I've had really is collecting the money. So I've broken it down in terms of, not having to pay the full amount in one go, which can be difficult.
Obviously, when you go on a trip, you've got that extra responsibility on you, but you're looking after the pupils 24 hours a day. And that can be quite stressful at times.
You need to think about every aspect of the trip, be it the coach journey, car parks, stays in the hotel, food, sun.
All the dietary requirements that those children have while they're abroad, or any kind of medical supervision they need. Contact numbers here that are available 24 hours a day. I'm one of them. There are all kinds of things that sometimes happen that are completely beyond the control of anybody travelling, but there are extremely good, careful, thorough procedures for dealing with those things. But in the end, unless all the health and safety rules are in place, the trip doesn't go ahead.
Are we allowed to bring mobiles and MP3s?
You can. It's another thing I've spoken to. We're regularly reinforcing the school rules, really, because they remain the same even when we're out of school. Health and safety issues as well as general behaviour. Last time we got them to sign an agreement that they'd agree to behave appropriately, so that's quite a nice thing to do.
Obviously, the pupils will be excited because they are away from home and it's all new to them. But generally, I find if you set the boundaries before you leave, and then every night we have a meeting where we talk to the kids, we give out certificates each night for different things, prizes for different things, and any issues we've got about behaviour or any issues we've had throughout the day with any pupils, we can discuss either individually or as a group.
Words of advice for somebody starting out with school trips would be just start early. Make sure I would start a year in advance. Give deadlines for money that are sooner than they need to be. Therefore, then you haven't got the worry at the last minute that people haven't paid.
It's only as time unfolds that you realise what detail needs to go into it. And it's only that way, the checking and so on, that you can be absolutely sure that things won't go wrong.
Because this is the second time I've done it, it's not completely an organisational nightmare. I think the first time I was a lot more stressed out before we went. I'm a lot more relaxed about going this time, and I'm looking forward to getting on the coach on Monday. All right, have lots of fun. It will be a really, really good week, and I'm looking forward to taking you.
When you're away on trips, they see the human side of you a lot more. And I think when you come back to school, the pupils respect you a lot more, and they really respond in your lessons a lot more.
So we do encourage people to do it, but they know here that if they embark on it, they have to be very thorough in their preparation and have very good reasons for wanting to do it. It's not just, we don't just do jollies.
For me, Parents' Evening is very important. It's the one chance that we get to really engage with the parents about how the pupils are doing.
Parents' Evening starts months before the actual event. First thing we have to think about is getting the reports done.
Parents' evenings aren't hard work if you're doing your job effectively in the first place. Your mark book should always be up to date and your register ready, so you've got your evidence to take with you.
We assure good attendance for Parents' Evening because we send out letters to every family and they have to bring reply slips back in, brought in by their child. We look through, we see what slips we haven't got, and on the days before the Parents' Evening, phone calls are made to all those parents asking them to be there on that night. Caretakers have to set up the hall for chairs, and also it's very important that the teachers feel that they're wanted, and therefore their names have to be put out on their tables. To help run Parents' Evening, we have to ask prefects to come in to help with the organisation of taking parents to the proper teachers. Then there's the logistics of food for parents and for teachers after school, because some teachers won't have time to go home. Problems that do arise on the day is obviously teachers being away from school, and we have to have, I suppose, as in football, like substitutes to take their place on the day if required. We have to be flexible because obviously some parents work in the evening and some people just can't make it on that night. So I run a second Parents' Evening for any parents who can't make that evening. If parents don't turn up, then they are contacted within the following week, and we try to persuade them to come into the second Parents' Evening, which I run later.
We've worked very hard over the years to get a good turnout, because when we started, we'd be lucky if we got 30% or so. Some of them weren't comfortable in a formal school environment. We hadn't made it welcoming enough. We didn't always provide translators. And we get 70–80% turnout now as a regular occurrence.
Your first Parents' Evening as a teacher is your scariest, and I think the main worry is you can't remember everyone's name. Always ask for the report first to refresh yourself and have a look how they're doing in their other subjects. That's always a great way of getting out of that embarrassing situation.
During the Parents' Evening, questionnaires are filled in by the parents, and this gives a good feedback on how the evening has gone. And if there has been problems for certain parents, then they are asked back to see their head of year so these problems can be solved.
For every negative thing that we say at Parents' Evening, we need to make sure that there are several positives coming out as well. We don't want the pupil to go away completely downhearted thinking there's no way back.
Giving it a very positive spin is, I think, the most important thing that somebody who's arranging a parent evening should concentrate on, because it isn't just about an administrative task which gets ticked off on a calendar, we've done it. It really needs to fulfill the purpose that it's there for, and that's the quality of the communication.
When a parent is confrontational, aggressive, or is unwilling to believe what is being said about their child, I find that it's always important to let them let off steam first.
We can take the parent away to a private room where we can discuss their report and put the report in context. If you're organising a Parents' Evening for the very first time, start very early so you're not rushing it at the end. Take advice from other heads of years who have run their Parents' Evening time and time again. And on the night, if anything goes wrong, don't panic.
What always strikes me about Parents' Evening is the look of anticipation and possible dread on the face of the pupils as they arrive. What's he going to say? And I always enjoy the look of relief that comes over a child when they realise I'm going to say good things.
Sports Day at Woodlands is quite an extraordinary event in the school calendar.
Anyone who's been involved in this sort of sport will know that that is one of your toughest days, because you come in and you're just hoping that no one is ill.
It brings all the school together. The houses compete
The house system provides opportunities for all students to take part at whatever level they think they can. Everybody who competes earns points. You come first, 7 points. You come last, it's 1 point.
Now, is taking part more important than winning? No, winning's important. But you see, your team can only win if everyone contributes. And so you need your points, you need someone to take part.
Boys are involved at all levels, not only from a performance standard, but also in a support system as being buddy coaches, as being junior leaders, as being the water boy, as being the kit coordinator. So it is truly an all-inclusive event.
We have a number of senior students who will get given responsibility to go around and organise and ensure that boys in year 7, 8 and 9 are taking part in the activity.
When lads are encouraging younger lads to perform, the younger ones respond well. And I think it's really good.
Organisation of a sports day is often a very complex affair. The date for sports day is often set in the calendar a year in advance, together with a provisional date in case of bad weather.
Too often in a school, it's a small group of staff who are expected to do everything. No, here at Woodlands, all the staff will be involved on that day.
The clever people in the maths and science department deal with things like spreadsheets for scoring. The science department sort of help out with things like the watches and the measurement of things, and quite a number of them are on the finish.
Parents are actively encouraged to be involved in the Sports Day celebration, both preceding the event in terms of helping out to coach their boys in the house in the variety of different events, or simply just to act as support for the team on the day, either bringing down extra sandwiches or extra drinks or just an extra pair of eyes and ears to help the staff out.
We keep things quite as simple as possible, so year 7s and 8s will only be doing field events, and year 9s and 10s will only do track events, and then we'll swap round. The most important things are that you actually are keeping your programme to a level which is easily managed and works within a safe environment.
Full risk assessments are taken for all aspects of the day that the senior team look through and inspect.
Each group of staff that are officiating the event has a specialised or experienced member of staff who runs through the procedure and runs through the safety operations for that particular event. We ensure that we have first aid available, that there's access for ambulance and so on if necessary. And then the sun shines and we have a fantastic day.
Sun protection is a key feature we do have to advise them about. We encourage our boys to slip on a t-shirt, slap on a hat and slop on the sun cream.
If the weather is slightly inclement, then we might have to change the events around depending on our risk assessment. The main problems obviously are the throwing events and the hurdles.
In terms of the nitty-gritty of the organisation on the day, so long as you've tried to cover all the bases in your planning prior, things usually run quite well on sports day.
If you're thinking of running a sports day and your school hasn't had one of this sort of nature before, then my advice would be to go and talk to your local athletics club, find some officials there that will tell you about what sort of things that you need to think about, what sort of things you need to do. The other thing is to find the local schools in the area that actually do have sports days. Actually go and see what their events are like. Ask them for any sort of, pro formas that they use, so you don't spend ages inventing your own. And then find a small group of people within your school that are really keen on doing it.
Logistically, it's one of your tough days, but at the end of it, it's very rewarding.
We're here for the children, and the children find it an absolutely fantastic way in which to celebrate the end of the sporting year and to leave the school on a real high note, ready for the summer holidays.
Sports day is excellent, yeah, one of the best days of the year, particularly when the sunshine comes out.